Hello everybody, I am Baltmatrix, and today we're taking a look at Deluxe Class Twitch from Transformers Earthrise. Twitch's design, compared to the other figures that we've already gotten in the Deluxe Class line, is much thinner and more lithe than the others, simply because of the transformation and the character design. I quite like the character design. The quadricopter alt mode works well, and we've never had a Transformer like that. This is also a much smaller character in the show. I do find it very funny that the actual Twitch character only comes up to maybe Megatron's midsection, while the toy is actually just a smidge taller than this Megatron. And the same with Bumblebee. The Bumblebee character in the show, much taller than Twitch. But the figure of Twitch feels bigger than the Bumblebee figure. As I said, design-wise, I really like this figure. It's really neat. But it's very flawed, or at least my figure is, or my copy is. Now, we'll talk about that in a little bit, but head sculpt is excellent. I mean, if you've watched EarthSpark, that is definitely Twitch's head sculpt, and the figure has light piping. See what I mean? Tons of light piping there. In fact, the entire rear of the head is one big clear plastic piece, and those eyes glow such a delicious shade of orange. Like Bumblebee before them, Twitch comes with a gun that mounts over the hand. It can go on either hand, and it's painted minimally. It's fine. This gun is also important in the alt mode, because if you lose the gun, the alt mode loses a certain something. Same way with Megatron. If you lose either of the cannon pieces on him, you lose a little bit of something in the alt mode. There are two peg holes on the lower back of Twitch. That is where you can store the weapon in robot mode, but it does sort of get in the way of the blades, so you just kind of have to have the blades apart. If you want to keep them closer together, you really can't. It's not that big a deal, though. It just looks like there's a thing hanging off poor Twitch's arse. Twitch has an excellent range of posability. Head is on the ball joint, can look down that much, can look all the way up that much. That's for the transformation. And every ball joint can be a swivel joint. The quadricopters on the back of the shoulders are posable. They are on ball joints. So you can pull off your favorite wind blade. Yeah, that works. Shoulders are on ball joints as well. Then there's a swivel in the upper arm, and then a lower arm or forearm is on a hinge, no swivel at the fist. Torso swivel, ball joint in the legs, thigh swivel, and then bends at the knees over 90 degrees, and then the toes are on hinges and ball joints. So you can get quite a bit of posability and range of movement out of this thing. But good freaking luck trying to get it to hold a pose. Okay, negatives on this figure, especially on my copy. One, the left hip is so loose. Like, I'm surprised it's actually holding up the figure. It's really not. As I move the figure around, it's moving around, and just little wiggles here and there cause it to lose connection. That's a real bummer, especially when we do the transformation, because with both hips being such tiny ball joints, I end up popping off the legs during the transformation. I just do. The other major bummer I have about this figure is nothing freaking tabs in very well on mine. The backpack, as soon as I go to move one of the blades, which are on ball joints, the backpack untabs. That does not tab in. It looks like it does, but there's no friction here. Same with the chest. The chest is supposed to peg in down there. And as you can see, I actually do have it pegging in, but it doesn't stay, and it won't actually stay connected. It sucks, because every time I pick the figure up, I touch a rotor, and the chest lifts up. And it's not the end of the world, but it's a pain. The figure also possesses a flight stand peg in its keister, which you saw at the beginning of this video. I do like the robot mode. I really do. I think it's a ton of fun, and it's probably one of my favorite flyers that we've gotten in a while. It's just a shame that nothing pegs in the way I want it to. The figure's transformation is neat, but a little bit fidgety. So to start off with, take the head and push it all the way back and up like that. Then come down to the chest and flip the chest up and over the robot head. You really want to push that head all the way back, and then you push the shoulders up, and it really feels like it's supposed to snap into place, but my copy doesn't. You see these little ridges right here? They feel like they're supposed to peg into the backpack there. They don't. And it really feels like they're supposed to. So I end up just pushing it up and just kind of leaving it pushed up like that loosely. Next, come into the area under the chest and flip out this piece right here. This will then allow the arms to peg into them. So there are these little tabs at the arm swivels, and they will peg in to these little peg holes or peg slots at the top of this gray piece. And like that. And then fold the landing gear out for the alt mode, like so. And one other cool thing about that gray piece is it gives you a little flight stand slot right there where my finger is. Next, for the transformation, take the thigh swivel and very gently turn it so that the outer part of the thigh is pointing to the front or the bottom of the vehicle mode. And then come into the back of the leg, push out the extra quadrocopter, take the foot and just kind of point it out directly like that with the heel just touching the back of the leg. Then the whole leg will fold up and the bottom of the heel will peg into this peg that is right on the outside of the hips. And I end up just having to curse profusely in order to get things to line up. The other thing that's a little odd is you see there is this tab coming off the foot that will actually peg into this peg hole that is right underneath the ball joint of the rotor. So getting that pegged in, it's not hard. What's hard is getting it to stay pegged in. Okay, one thing I discovered while doing this, and accidentally I thought I was going to break the darn thing, is I accidentally flipped up the back piece, or that backpack panel, and that gave me more room to move the chest up a little bit, oddly enough. So we'll repeat the process on the other side, and there is another connector that I have not shown you yet. So flip that around, get that underneath the quad. Wait, no, I wasn't right. I have it upside down. So we'll get that pegged into all of its spots. Get that slotted in there. Get the heel pegged into there. And then there is another connector on the outside of the leg that pegs into the forearm. So getting that pegged in is a little bit tricky, but it does go in. So let's get all that together. And then bring the quads down, and then let's see what happens when I bring this thing down. Yeah, that just popped everything out of place. Dang nabbit! The last bits of the transformation involve first folding the tail feathers in, and then pegging them together, and then they will peg into these slots on the back of the hips. And then finally, come to the front of the vehicle mode, and there is a peg. Oh, there it is. There's a peg right there, and that will slot into the little area up here underneath the mono camera. And getting that pegged in is exercise in frustration, but is doable. And once you've got it in, then you could go back and fix everything. The quadcopter mode we end up with is more like a dual copter with two other open holes. It would have been nice if they actually put in, little, I don't know, rotors there or something. That would have been nice. But overall, I like it. I honestly do. It doesn't feel any different than some of the other Seekers we've gotten in the past. And yeah, there's a little bit of robot kibble with the hands, especially sticking out the back. But otherwise, I think it works. I think it just, for me, it works well. The flight stand peg being on the bottom, I'm really thankful for, and the little legs here that we've got do work well to hold the figure up on a flat surface. Yeah, it's a fun little figure. I like it quite a bit. I just wish it didn't have the QC issues. In terms of size, it feels a lot bigger than I originally thought it was going to be. I mean, it's scaling well with Megatron and even is almost the same size as Bumblebee's vehicle mode. It works. It's big, it's really neat, and I'm really smitten with it, except, of course, the QC issues. Overall, I like Twitch a lot. I think Twitch is a fun figure that is really neat, and it's got a different feel to it than a lot of our classic Transformers, especially from the Legacy line. Now, plastic quality, I can't speak to. All I have here is a Sharpie, so, that feels fine. What else can I say? It's a fun figure. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to knock you off, Sea Spray. Arrgh! Anyway, is it worth having in your collection? If you're a fan of EarthSpark, yes. Just be wary that there are potentially some problems with the overall quality control. So folks, let me know what you think of the figure down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I have been Baltmatrix, and as always, I will catch you next time.